The curse of seeing too much is realizing most people are asleep, and you can't wake them without killing their dream. For decades, clinical psychology categorized this phenomenon of empaths as a deficit. It was labeled as poor boundary maintenance, codependency, or neurosis. Freud might have called it hysterical identification. But as neuroscience has advanced, we have uncovered a far more radical truth. The empath is not suffering from a broken psychological defense system. They are operating with a hyper-advanced, yet unregulated data intake system. The danger of being an empath is not that you feel too much. It is that you process a spectrum of information that the rest of the collective has agreed to ignore. And without a manual, this ability does not make you powerful. It makes you sick. To understand the power, we must first understand the hardware. In the 1990s, a team of Italian neuroscientists led by Giacomo Rizzolatti made a discovery that shattered our understanding of human connection: mirror neurons. These are brain cells that fire not only when you perform an action, but when you watch someone else perform it. For the average person, these neurons allow for basic imitation and social learning. But for the empath, recent studies suggest a phenomenon of hyperactivation. When an empath sees someone in pain, their brain does not just intellectually recognize that the person is hurting. Their somatosensory cortex, the part of the brain responsible for physical sensation, lights up as if the pain were happening to them. Dr. Judith Orloff, a psychiatrist and researcher in this field, estimates that while highly sensitive people make up roughly 20% of the population, true empaths, those who physically absorb the symptomatology of others, comprise only 1% to 2% of the population. This is a statistical minority living in a sensory reality that 98% of the world cannot access. The tragedy is that most empaths spend their lives trying to numb this receptor. They are told they are too sensitive or need thicker skin. This is akin to telling a microscope it should stop zooming in so much. The goal is not to degrade the lens. The goal is to learn how to focus it. Just as Jung categorized personality types, modern transpersonal psychology and behavioral science have identified distinct categories of empathic function. You likely default to one, though you may possess traits of all three. Type 1. The somatic empath. This is the most physically dangerous category. Wilhelm Reich, the father of somatic psychology, argued that memory and trauma are stored in the body's fascia and musculature. The somatic empath reads this storage. You walk into a room and suddenly develop a headache. Your stomach turns or your shoulders tighten. You aren't sick. You are physically replicating the repressed trauma of the person standing next to you. The hidden power here is diagnostic. In medical intuition and somatic therapy, these individuals function as living MRI machines. They don't need a patient to tell them where it hurts. They become the injury. Type 2. The cognitive empath. While somatic empaths feel, cognitive empaths know. This overlaps with what Paul Ekman, the pioneer of microexpression research, studied. Cognitive empaths can process microexpressions, facial twitches lasting less than a millisecond, and tone variants that contradict spoken words. This is often called dark empathy when used manipulatively, but in its pure form, it is a lie detection mechanism. The power here is strategic. A cognitive empath knows the deal is bad, the partner is cheating, or the leader is corrupt long before the evidence appears. They process the incongruence between a person's mask, persona, and their intent, shadow. Type 3. The geomantic or environmental empath. Less discussed in clinical circles but prominent in environmental psychology, These individuals process the affective atmosphere of a place. They feel the residual tension in a house where a divorce occurred, or the frantic energy of a workplace before layoffs are announced. They are reading the collective nervous system of a group. Why does this power destroy people? Because of a mechanism psychologists call emotional contagion. Emotional contagion is the tendency to automatically mimic and synchronize expressions, vocalizations, and postures with another person, and consequently, to converge emotionally. For the untrained empath, this process is unconscious and automatic. You meet a depressed friend. You mimic their posture, their breathing rate, and their facial tension without realizing it. Your biology synchronizes with theirs. You leave the interaction feeling drained and heavy, while they leave feeling lighter. You have unknowingly acted as a dialysis machine, filtering their emotional toxicity through your own kidneys. This is a biological transfer of cortisol and stress hormones. If you do this daily, you burn out. You develop chronic fatigue, autoimmune issues, or severe anxiety. The system overloads. The transformation from victim to master requires a shift in physics. Most empaths operate as sponges, absorptive and porous. The goal is to become a mirror, reflective and smooth. Carl Rogers, the founder of humanistic psychology, introduced the concept of unconditional positive regard and deep empathy. However, Rogers did not absorb his patient's psychosis. He reflected it so they could see it. This is the crucial distinction. Here's the protocol for accessing the hidden power of empathy without the cost. Phase 1. The physiological reset. You cannot set mental boundaries if your nervous system is fried. Empaths often live in a state of chronic sympathetic dominance, fight or flight. To use your power, you must strengthen the vagal tone. The vagus nerve is the superhighway between your brain and body. When it is toned, you can witness trauma without entering it. Here's the technique. Before entering a high stimulation environment, engage the social engagement system. This involves rhythmic breathing, exhaling longer than inhaling, and orienting to the environment, looking around the room and naming objects. This tells your reptilian brain, we are safe, we are observing, not participating. Phase 2. Metacognitive separation. The biggest lie the empath's brain tells them is, I am feeling this. The truth is, I am perceiving this. When a sudden wave of emotion hits you, rage, grief, anxiety, you must pause and ask the diagnostic question, is this sediment or sentiment? Sediment, is this my old trauma being stirred up? Sentiment, is this an incoming transmission from someone else? If the emotion has no antecedent in your day, meaning you were fine, you walked into a crowded store, and now you are angry, it is not yours. The moment you label it as external data rather than internal state, the brain stops producing the hormones to support that emotion. You detach the narrative from the sensation. Phase 3. The alchemical transmutation. This is where the power becomes active. Once you have identified that the pain is not yours, you do not push it away. Resistance causes persistence. Instead, you utilize what Gestalt therapists call contact. You acknowledge the energy. You let it pass through you like wind through a screen door, not water into a sponge. You should use the technique called visualization. Imagine you are a hollow bone or a glass pipe. The emotion enters, you taste the data, fear, deception, sorrow, and you let it exit the other side. You have gained the intelligence without keeping the infection. We must ask the macro question: why would nature evolve a subset of humans who feel the pain of others so acutely? Evolution is ruthless. It does not keep traits that do not aid survival. The empath is the species' early warning system. In tribal times, the person who could smell the smoke before the fire was visible or sense the predator before the twig snapped saved the tribe. Today, the threats are psychological and systemic. The empath feels the toxic family dynamic before the abuse starts. The empath feels the corporate corruption before the bankruptcy. The empath feels the societal unrest before the riot. You are not designed to fix everyone you meet. That is the ego trap of the savior complex, which is often just a trauma response masked as altruism. You are designed to receive signal data and act on it. Once you stop drowning in the data, you can start using it. In business or conflict, information is leverage. While others are listening to words, the integrated empath is listening to the nervous system of the opponent. You know when they are bluffing, not because of logic, but because you can feel their adrenaline spike. You know what they truly want, even if they haven't said it. By speaking to their felt need rather than their stated demand, you can disarm conflicts that logic cannot solve. Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden, repressed parts of the self. Empaths naturally trigger the shadow in others. Have you ever met someone who disliked you instantly for no reason? It is because your presence illuminated a part of them they are trying to hide. Instead of shrinking, the integrated empath holds their ground. By remaining neutral and non-judgmental, you force the other person to confront their own projection. You become a mirror of truth. This is uncomfortable for them, but it is the catalyst for their growth, if they choose to take it. The world is currently suffering from an epidemic of disconnection. We are digitally connected, but biologically estranged. The empath allows for resonance when you can sit with someone in deep grief and not try to fix it, but simply witness it without being destroyed by it. You provide a rare biological service. You regulate their nervous system with yours. This is co-regulation, the basis of all mammalian safety. We must address the shadow of this power. A growing body of research identifies the dark empath, individuals who score high on empathy, but also high on the dark triad traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy. These individuals use their high-definition perception to manipulate. They know exactly where your buttons are because they can feel them, and they push them to control you. If you are an empath, you are the prime target for a narcissist. Why? Because you offer the endless supply of emotion they crave, and you have the tolerance to endure their abuse. Your ability to see the truth is your weapon. When you stop trying to heal the narcissist and start trusting your data like the sick feeling in your stomach, you become immune to their gaslighting. Gaslighting only works if you doubt your perception. The integrated empath does not doubt. You were not born with a defect. You were born with a high bandwidth connection to the human condition. The exhaustion you feel is the result of running high voltage electricity through wires that haven't been insulated. The path forward is not to shut down your heart. The world has enough closed hearts. The path is to build a stronger container. Create rituals of solitude to discharge static. Study the mechanics of your own nervous system. Stop accepting the cultural narrative that sensitivity is weakness. In a world increasingly dominated by artificial intelligence and algorithmic logic, the ability to feel, to intuit, and to perceive the invisible emotional landscape is the most irreplaceable human currency. The dangerous discovery is not that you see everything. It is that you have the capacity to change what you see simply by the way you choose to witness it. You are the architect of a new way of being. Do not close your eyes, adjust your focus, and let the power in. If you are the one who always smells the smoke before the fire starts, hit the like button. And if you are ready to stop drowning in your own perception and start mastering it, subscribe. And remember, a lighthouse does not run around the island looking for boats to save. It just stands there and shines. Be the light, not the rescue boat.